Yowzers. Lots of stuff going on, including the CME that we forecasted yesterday. So you can see right at the end of this video here, this is the last 24 hours. Right down here, some plasma making its way out into the greater solar system there. So that's some exciting stuff going on. We'll cover that and lots more today here at the Daily Space News, Daily Space Weather at the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. So lots of activity going on up here in the Northwestern Limb. And a great prominence that we streamed live yesterday down here, right here. Nice little prominence, some activity happening there from behind the Western Limb. Also, don't forget to keep an eye on the Southeastern Limb. Huge prominence still hanging out down there. Also, some magnetic flipping happening. We can expect a North Pole current sheet coming soon. We'll get to it. Here's the 131 angstroms imagery. That's yesterday plus today from SDO. There was an M-class flare in there. A C-class flare just happened. We're going to have some new named sunspot groups, I believe, also. These groups in between here, these smaller sunspot groups right here in the southeast. I believe there'll be two more named sunspot groups in there today, as we've seen some umbral growth happening there. It'll show up in the colorized magnetogram also. Exciting stuff happening. Let's take a brief look at volcanoes. So Suwanosejima continues to explode, produce a 6,000-foot ash plume. Suwanosejima, 7,000-foot ash plume. Mount Ibu, 9,000-foot ash plume as it explodes. That's located on the Isle of Halmahera, Indonesia. Dukono. What's going on there? A powerful explosion yesterday, accompanied by a 3-kilometer ash plume. Popocatépetl. Mild explosive activity there as well. No indication of the size of the ash plume from Popocatépetl or the flight level. Nevado del Ruiz exploding, flight level 240. Sangay exploding, flight level 250. Revenador exploding, flight level 160. Sabancaya exploding, flight level 240. It's a 24,000-foot ash plume over Peru. Please don't pull Volta Caldera. There was a 7-magnitude earthquake yesterday while we did our live premiere on YouTube. We sent out email alerts at smashomash.com/smashteam. That quake happened there in between Fiji and New Caledonia, south of Vanuatu. And that quake came in at 11:04 Universal Time. That 7-magnitude quake had an estimated depth of 208 kilometers. And let's run up the list here. We just recently had a quake off the coast of Oregon. Also some earthquakes there in Hawaii. So besides that 7.0, it's actually been pretty much calm here over the past 24 hours. That 4.4 off the coast of Oregon there just came in while we did show prep here at 9:21 Universal Time. And here's a full disk image of the closest star. Huge filaments here. You can see some filaments up here around the North Polar region. You can see these huge prominences over here in the southeast. And you can see this one down here ejecting. It's still in the process of leaving the corona as we stream the video. But that was the filament that we were talking about yesterday, and indeed it has ejected. No real surprise there to our regular viewers. The radial flux has actually come down a bit. It's now at 144 solar flux units. And there's the 1-year graph of that. To put it in context, the black line there is the radial flux, the red line is the sunspot number. And a space weather enthusiast dashboard forecasting some geomagnetic unrest starting late in the day tomorrow, September 16th, and lasting a while there. No indication what the reasoning for that is. Coronal hole high-speed stream would be my guess. We did just recently see a huge swing in the magnetic fields and some changes happening in the solar magnetic fields. We're going to show you that in a moment. Here is the magnetohydrodynamic pressure modeled by the Space Weather Modeling Framework out to about 12 Earth diameters. Things pretty calm here at the moment. That's the last 4 hours. It's Earth's magnetic moment from space. So quite calm conditions there as far as the magnetic environment. Here's Earth's magnetic moment from the ground. The units here depicted are nanotesla. It's showing geospace delta B changes to Earth's B field. The B field is the field that goes through the magnet. And let's look at the planetary K index. We've come down from a KP4. There are 6 hours of geomagnetic unrest there just before and after midnight universal time. Now we've got a KP1. So we've seen huge shifts happen in the magnetic field here. So the magnetic field shifted from 15 with a negative BZ of 14. So 15 nanotesla total field with a negative 14 BZ. That's the vertical component of the magnetic field. And then we saw it shift right back into positive territory there. So current conditions are about 14 nanotesla with a positive 11, which does not induce a lot of currents. So geomagnetically calm conditions there. Current solar wind density about 7.5 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed only 324 kilometers per second. And by the way, this shift right here, that is a shift of the instrument. If you look at the bottom line here, that's the Discover. They switched to the ACE for a few hours there and then back to the Discover. The real signal was like 50 protons per cubic centimeter. And then it suddenly dropped down without a real increase in the solar wind speed there. So that was a CME strike, as far as I can tell. Does not look anything like a coronal hole high-speed stream at the moment. Next, a big shift in the GOES magnetometer there. The GOES 16 and GOES 17, they are measuring the magnetic fields from their geosynchronous orbits. They're located at like 10,500 miles of altitude, and they orbit near the equator. If you enjoy the content, press like and subscribe. Once again, we've got huge changes coming in the solar magnetic field. We'll get to it here in a moment. First, let's talk about the channel. We're approaching 2,600 subscribers. Oh my God, we're blowing up. It's time to retire, folks, and move to a bunker in Colorado. Just kidding. Seriously, though, press like, press subscribe, tell your friends and foes about us, press the share button, leave us a comment. If you'd like to support the channel, consider doing so via the smashomash.com/smashteam site. We replaced Patreon with a superior website with superior capabilities. And we've got the financials all set up on our own website. So if you want to support us, become a gold or silver Smash Team member. The best value is a gold annual paid-up subscription. It's almost like getting 4 months for free because of the complimentary merch and the discount from signing up for a full year. So smashomash.com/smashteam. Once again, we send out email alerts also for disasters. And there is also a bronze level there at smashomash.com/smashteam. That'll cost you $0 per month. Check out the sweet merch. It's linked below the video as well as on the homepage. The merch here sorted by order of best-selling. They may or may not reflect our political views. Keep in mind, folks, I am apolitical. Never belonged to a political party, most likely never will. Today's featured product is forgive, remember, and hold accountable, because holding a grudge, that's like ingesting poison and expecting the other person to die. So forgive, remember, and hold accountable. Have you noticed a shocking lack of accountability? Yeah. Rampant corporatism, fraud, propaganda, nonsense, bad advice, terrible decision-making. Almost seems like an intentional undermining of the economy, doesn't it? Well, I would say to you, forgive, remember, and hold accountable, because forgive and forget is so 2019. Links to the merch on the homepage. You can also find links on the Twitter page. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. If you haven't created a Twitter account, make sure you create a Twitter account. Get involved. Send tweets directly to your favorite politician. Let us know who your favorite politician is. Is it Nancy Pelosi? Is it perhaps Chuck Schumer? Let us know in the comments. And of course, you'll see information that you won't see anyplace else, so we don't want to give it away. Big tech. They can't break the internet, but the internet can break big tech. We also regularly stream live to Twitch. Twitch.tv/smashomash. Yesterday we did like a 20-hour stream or something like that. And we'll be streaming once again today. If you'd like to improve your health, consider becoming a member of SureMed, otherwise known as the American Better Health Organization, or ABHO. It's a nonprofit organization with the intention of improving your health. So if you've got some gaps, if you'd like some discounts, if you'd like to have doctors by phone, veterinarians by phone, dental discounts, vision discounts, the retail and mail order pharmacy is always a great feature. If you take prescription meds, get discounts on all kinds of things with your SureMed membership. Links on the homepage as well as below the video to that. Welcome to the Neo-Renaissance. Congratulations on realizing that the channel exists. There's the SureMed link on our homepage at smashomash.com. And all kinds of other links to our social media. A permanent link to our Discord chat. We'll be using that soon to do live streams where you, the viewer, can call in and get on the channel, ask questions, make comments, etc. All kinds of links there at smashomash.com. And check it out, we've got some sudden changes happening in the polarity of the plasma and the solar magnetic fields. You can see a North Pole current sheet making its way here. We've got a lot of sunspots in the southern hemisphere on the east side of the sun. And we've got some wrapping around of North Pole-oriented coronal holes. So if you check this out, you're going to see a sudden shift in the sun's B field. Right there. And that's something not too surprising here, considering the progression of solar cycle 25. You're going to see some North Pole-oriented coronal holes here wrapping around way down by the south polar region here. So a bit of a magnetic tug-of-war happening down there in the southeastern limb. We've got indecisive coronal holes down here, so that'll be something to keep an eye on in the coming days. So these are South Pole-oriented coronal holes closer to the North Heliographic Pole, and we've got North Pole coronal holes down here. And there's a long way to go for the completion of the solar polar field reversal cycle. Solar cycle 25, it's barely even started. And it's way ahead of schedule in terms of sunspot number and radial flux. Let's move to sunspots. So we've got some more groups that need names here. So I believe we're going to see sunspot 3103 and 3104 in between here. So in this region right in here, new sunspots showing up there. Let's take a look at that. So these sunspots here ought to get names. Should be 2 new groups named there. They are quite magnetically complex. Let's take a look at the most interesting portion of the closest star. It's the Northwestern Limb, where most of the activity's been happening. And Sunspot 3098 still likely to produce major flares. Again, don't be surprised to see an X-class flare from this group as it sets. Looks like a new sunspot forming up here in the north as well. So right here, there's another sunspot group. That'll need a name also. So at least 3 possible new named groups. Let's move on to flaring. So we had a little long duration C6.3 magnitude flare here happen just while we did show prep, actually. Not sure if that produced any relativistic particles, but we'll take a look at that. First, the 94 angstroms wavelengths for the last 24 hours. As we just show the most detailed space weather and the most detailed imagery of the closest star you'll find anywhere on the internet. And here's where most of the activity's been occurring, the northwest. And again, like we forecasted, that filament there to the south of your imagery there has indeed ejected. We'll see if we can find some indication of its trajectory here in a moment. Proton flux here still pretty calm. A minor signal happening there. Nothing major. So here's a brief look at a star chart. If you're wondering what's going on overhead, this is what's going on overhead over our heads. In Lehigh Valley, PA, we've got Jupiter, the Moon, Mars, and Venus up there. Venus having just risen over the horizon there. And let's do a solar system forecast. Here's where our heavenly bodies are now. Let's move this ahead 1 week. We'll be approaching a new moon in 1 week. We will have a crescent waning moon. And let's take a look at some coronagraphs. So I just want to see if we have some new frames here yet. No new frames yet. So there's yesterday's data. And let's take a look at stereo A plus the Soho-Lasco C3. So this filament here is in the process of ejecting now. We just don't have the newest data on that yet. Let's see if we've got anything new here. So there's that CME that we forecasted yesterday, starting to make its way out of the corona. I believe it's pretty unlikely to be earthly directed. I think it's going to be off to the southwest. That's what happens when you're that far ahead with your forecast. And you'll see that filament disappearing here in the El Teide, Spain imagery. So this huge filament here indeed became unstable, and whoops, no longer there in the corona. It's now out in the solar system. And here you can see on the last 2.5 hours of the GOES 16 SUVI. It's CME happening there. And we'll be streaming this all day once again today after our premiere on YouTube. So here's the last 24 hours in 171 angstroms. That's the house favorite wavelength. And let us know what your favorite wavelength from SDO is in the comments. We're always interested in your comments. And thanks to everybody who's been leaving comments. Thanks to all of our new viewers over on YouTube. Thanks to our BitChute viewers. We've been putting the videos on BitChute, and let's go to our bonus features segment. Charging hazards have calmed down here for satellites, so that's always a good thing. One thing that's not good is the total electron content forecast not showing up. We've got broken data. We've got missing total electron content forecast. I don't know if you've ever checked it out yourself, but the links below the featured content here at the Space Weather Prediction Center. We normally show the total electron content forecast, and it's unfortunately not there. Where the heck is it? There it is. It is busted, like it was yesterday. So anyway, at least we don't have charging hazards for satellites at the moment. We've seen a dip here in the electron flux following a lengthy electron storm. So now getting back down to more normal levels there. That's the last 3 days. Here's the Noaa forecast. It looks like it'll be pretty close to the forecast here today. The yellow diamonds are the observation. The green boxes are the forecast. So expecting a little dip there. There's the 1-year chart to put it in context. That's from solon.info. And we've got massive ionospheric anomalies happening. So check this out. Huge high-frequency anomalies happening all around the world. The ionosphere is pretty lit up at the moment. I don't know why it stopped playing. Let's refresh. It stopped playing because reasons. So if you're not familiar with this, it's showing vibrational frequency of the ionosphere. And there are a lot of high-frequency anomalies here. So we'll also show the anomalygram, which shows the anomaly from the 30-day median. And you're going to see a lot of blue. A lot of blue. Huge amount of high-frequency anomalies. And some rapid swings in the central Atlantic, the central Pacific, the East Pacific rather, right over here. And it's not that much of a surprise considering its proximity to the South Atlantic anomaly, which is located right down here. There's also a weak spot in the ionosphere down here by South Africa. And you can see indications of that on the anomalygram. But in any case, that's a pretty anomalous ionosphere there. That's the anomaly in megahertz from a 30-day median. And lots of high-frequency anomalies happening here at the moment. There's a latest image. That's 10:15 Universal Time. You can see a lot of blue on the ionosphere map. That's courtesy of Australian Government Bureau of Meteorology, by the way, if you want to watch that yourself. Next, we're going to show the total electron content over North America, since the global view is shattered for whatever reason. It's going to show the total electron content between your GPS satellite and your handset. So there's the actual electron count from the inner portion of the outer Van Allen belt all the way down to the ground level. There's the standard deviation. And there's the anomaly. That's the anomaly from the 10-day average. So that we may have to stick with this instead of the total electron content forecast for the world. Or maybe we'll have to include that as an added feature. So that's always interesting. Let's take a look at the latest intensitygram and latest colorized magnetogram. Again, new spots need to be named. Those sunspot groups have been there for, looks like, more than 12 hours to me. So expecting some new sunspot groups there. The sunspot number should rise as a result of that. That group there is pretty magnetically complex. Let's take a look at the magnetogram along with that. Definitely a beta-gamma class. And the most exciting group is certainly this group up here. So don't be surprised to see an X-class flare come out of that sunspot as it sets. It's got a whole line of opposite polarity fields there. And we're going to skip that entirely and show some close-ups. There's the southeastern limb in 171 angstroms. And of course, we've got to show the northwestern limb in our house favorite wavelength. That's the last 24 hours from SDO. So that, my friends and foes, is where the daily space weather ends. However, that is where the meteorology segment begins, and thanks for leaving comments. Tinman1057, good morning to you. Thanks for leaving a comment, Mama D1K, good morning to you. And let's move to the meteorology portion of the video. So multiple low pressure systems here in the West Pacific. That's the surface wind environment. And 4 powerful low pressure systems there in the Western Pacific. This one here featuring some very strong winds. Certainly hurricane force winds there. So there's lots of hot water in the North Pacific. As you can see there. So there's a lot of fuel to drive convection. That hot water will be apt to evaporate. So that storm's got plenty of fuel being over all of that hot water. So there's the sea surface temperature. There's the anomaly, that water up to 13.5 degrees above normal there. Strong low there south of Australia as well. Powerful clockwise rotation there, the signature of a low pressure system in the southern hemisphere. Here are the jet streams of the east. Jet stream blowing backwards over the Western Pacific and the Indian Ocean. Jet streams of the Americas look like this. Surface winds of this side of the planet look like this. Surface winds of the central world depicted here. And here are the jet streams. And let's move on and blast through some more material here. Here's your weather.gov map. If your county's lit, click your county. Not that many weather warnings at the moment. And let's see what else is going on. Here's your pressure and precipitation forecast based on the GFS model for the next 72 hours. And things are going to be pretty chill here over the U.S. for the next 72 hours. Not a lot of precipitation expected to fall at all. How about temperature anomalies? There's your temperature anomaly forecast in degrees Celsius, based on the same model, the GFS, for the next 72 hours. Here's a pressure map. Again, multiple low pressures, 4 powerful low pressures there. And this typhoon, it went right up through Shanghai. It went right up the Chinese coast. Suboptimal, probably caused quite a bit of damage. Not the best thing for shipping. If you've noticed your prices increasing, well, that's not going to help them decrease. That map is from windy.com. Here's your NASA GOES lightning mapper. Check out this strong lightning signal. That's northeast of Central America there. That's a powerful series of lightning strikes. And let's take a look at a real-time lightning map here. I saw some active cells in the U.S. A little bit of lightning there in Nebraska and a little bit of lightning there in Minnesota, near the Canadian border, it looks like, mainly. Up there's some extra strikes. It's lake country. I'll bet you there's some good fishing spots in there. All right, let's zoom out and show the entirety of lightningmaps.org's data. And let's blast through some more here to close out today's daily space weather and meteorology segment video. There's the U.S. Doppler radar. Heavy rains there moving into central Ontario. We've got some refreshing to do. Please bear with us. We appreciate your patience at the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. Here is the Shortwave Radiation Map showing clouds and fog. And there is the water vapor map. Here's your recap. Ground-based Doppler radar systems show vertical motion of water droplets in the air column. Satellite-based infrared spectroscopy shows clouds and fog at 3.9 nanometers. That's infrared radiation. And this is a different band of the infrared spectrum, showing water vapor, all of the water vapor. And thanks for tuning in, viewers. Once again, congratulations on realizing the channel exists. Thanks for leaving a comment, Jules Designs 1208. And may that solar wind be at your back. Opinions expressed in this video, not necessarily the opinions of Smash News Network, least busted name in news.